Hi everybody, it's me, Kim Forrester, here with another little bite-sized thrive. And in this video and a few of the next videos, I actually wanted to touch on the idea of choosing happiness. And what I mean by that is choosing in the moments of our lives to engage in activities and decisions and choices that actually enhance our happiness. Studies have shown that a huge difference, up to 40% of the difference between people who feel happiness and life satisfaction and those who don't, is actually the choices that that individual makes on a daily basis. So the way we spend our time is particularly important. The way we choose to spend our time is particularly important when it comes to either enhancing or sort of bringing down our potential for daily happiness. Truly. So even though I don't normally like to focus on the negative at all, I like to be, uplifting. I thought today it was really important to focus on a few things that we can stop doing with our time. And these are important because if we can catch ourselves in these moments of really unhealthy or unhelpful behavior, then we can train our mind away. We can train our behavior away from those unhealthy habits. And we can start choosing instead to uplift our happiness, to enhance our life satisfaction in these small moments of our lives. First thing that I would really encourage you to stop doing with your time if and when you discover that you are in the midst of this, and that is gossip. Okay, now I get it. We all find ourselves at times sort of sitting down and hearing the latest news about such and such down the road, or cousin this, or this is happening, and it can be really compelling to sit there and sort of go through all the juicy details. Someone's spilling the tea and you want to lap it all up. The problem is that gossip is an incredibly destructive habit, particularly if it's done, to excess. What happens is when we're hearing gossip, we're often only hearing half the side of the story. We don't have all the facts. We're not really considering how anyone has all the motives or the emotional needs behind the behavior. And so it really can just be really destructive for the people involved. Also, I want you to really stop and understand that when you are in a moment of gossip, what you are personally experiencing is probably feelings of anger or disappointment or resentment, or it might be that you're feeling a sense of righteousness and hubris. So when we're actually engaging in gossip, our emotional state is one that is actually quite negative, and it is bringing you down into those negative states of emotion and mood, and therefore your body is reacting that way, and you're actually increasing stress and you're decreasing your ability to feel joy and gratitude and all those wonderful things in life. So just catch yourself, if you can, in the coming days, if you find yourself in moments of gossip. If you are in a moment of gossip, there's a couple of ways you can sort of bring yourself out of it. First of all, try engaging gratitude. So it might be that you find yourself talking about somebody or something that's going on, and then you can sort of stop and say, oh, this is not good for me and my well-being to be in the state of anger or resentment or judgment or hubris. And instead go, wow, I'm so grateful that my relationships aren't like that. I'm so grateful that this is not happening in my life. And in that moment, you see, you switch it around, and not only do you become less judgmental and less sort of toxic towards the people who are involved, but you're also lifting yourself into a state of gratitude. Of course, you can also extend compassion and go, do you know what? We don't know all the story. I wonder what would drive someone to behave that way. What kind of frame of mind are they in? What lack of support do they have that they would have to act out in that way? So compassion is also a wonderful thing that you can engage in instead of just sort of, unconsciously lapping up the gossip and falling into that negative spiral. Another really destructive and unhelpful habit that we can fall into with the moments in our lives is rumination. Now, we've all been there, right? We've had an experience, or we've had a conversation or a confrontation, and you know what it's like. You then go away, and it might be for the next hours or days or maybe even weeks and months. You're just running that scenario around in your head, and you were thinking about things you could have said, and you're trying to analyze, why on earth would that person say that thing to me? And the problem is, of course, and you know this, when we go into rumination, we're reliving that conflict again. We're reliving the confrontation, we're reliving the disappointment or the betrayal or whatever it was. And we bring ourselves back down into that low emotional state. Now, I understand the desire to ruminate. I totally understand the need, the psychological need to ruminate. It's just that just because we do it doesn't mean it's good for us. So if you do find yourself in a state of rumination, if you find yourself coming back to the same scenario, running it around in your head and dragging yourself back down into those negative states of being, gift yourself a certain amount of time. So say to yourself, do you know what? This person gets 5 minutes of my life. Now, I'm a people pleaser and I am particularly sensitive to other people's reactions to me. And I can often find myself ruminating about complete strangers and their reaction to me. And so if it's a complete stranger and it's some random reaction, I will give myself 5 minutes. Okay, Kim, you have 5 minutes. You can sit there and you can think about it. You can analyze it. And you can be in that state as long, as much as you like for that 5 minutes. But once that 5 minutes is over, let it go and move on. Sometimes what's going on in our life is a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit more intimate. So you may decide to gift yourself a day or a week or even a month where you will sit and you will allow yourself to ruminate. But please set a time. And once that time is over, you have to let it go. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to let it go, right? But what it does mean is that you can say to yourself, when you find yourself back in rumination, and go, oh, do you know what? No, I gave myself the time that was required for that, and now it's time to move on. The third and final thing I want to talk about today, and ways that we can spend our time in really unhelpful and destructive ways, is when we are spending our time trying to control the uncontrollable or control for perfection. Now, I've had a few clients come up recently who I've seen this going on with, and I must admit I've done this myself many times in the past. And that is where you see a situation going on in your life, and parents are really good at this, and I say good, in quotes there. We seem to want to create a particular situation, and it might be with school, or it might be at work, or it might be with our family, or there's something going on, and we spend an awful lot of time just trying to control all the elements of that situation. Of course, most of life is totally uncontrollable. We certainly can't control the behaviors and the choices of others. The other thing is that what we're often trying to control for is a sense of what we think is perfection. And what we often think is perfection is a lack of unpleasantness, right? So we're trying to control, particularly as a parent, trying to control so that our children don't feel pain or discomfort, or we don't feel pain or discomfort, or we worry a lot about the reactions of ourselves and others, and then we try to control the environment to that point of what we think would be emotional perfection. Now, once again, we can't control to that degree, and we actually need challenge. We need a little bit of emotional pain. We need to have, all of us, our family, our friends, our children, we all need to have discomfort in our lives. So when we're trying to control elements like that, and we're spending days and moments and weeks sometimes just fixating on trying to control each of this particular situation, you're actually just putting yourself in a really negative state. You are depleting yourself of the potential for happiness. And if you try to control to perfection and yourself or the person doesn't actually have that growth period in their life, then you're depleting them of the potential for happiness. So there you are, just a really quick little video today around 3 things I really encourage you to stop doing with your time. Choose to stop doing these things as best as you can when you notice yourself engaged in them. So first of all, gossip, really, really big one. If you notice you're in gossip, please try to stop as much as possible. The second one is rumination. Give yourself a certain amount of time, and then whenever you find yourself going there, train yourself to step back out again. I've given myself time on that rumination. And the third one is trying to control the uncontrollable or control for perfection. If we can stop doing those things with our time, then in the next video I'm going to have a look at how we can use those spare moments that we've created to actually enhance our happiness and start bringing more joy and more purpose and more meaning and more curiosity into our world. That's it for today. Kim Forrester here with another little bite-sized thrive. As ever, if you are looking for a little bit of guidance or clarity around a situation that's going on in your life, perhaps you're looking for help to stop ruminating or stop controlling, come and see me for a private consultation, kimforrester.net. But in the meantime, it's just always a delight to have you here with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.